Yo, what's good guys? It's Chris here, and today I'm going to be coming at you with Hero Mastery number 2. And today we're going to specifically be talking about Boba Fett and tips and tricks on how to use the character in Hero and Trooper game modes. So as this video goes along, I just want you to keep in mind that this is strictly opinion based, meaning that if you have your own methods or tips or star card builds specifically for this character that you think work best, then feel free to do so. This is just strictly on my opinion. So for Boba Fett, let's look at his abilities first. He first has his concussion rocket. So what that'll do is basically when you hit an enemy or multiple enemies, it'll basically disorient their screen. That'll give you basically the edge when they're panicking and trying to block, and you can get those damage shots in. So his second ability is called For the Hunt. So this has 3 effects. The first effect is that it will reveal enemies for you around corners and highlight them so that you can anticipate their paths. The second effect is basically it'll give you unlimited jetpack fuel. This is good for maintaining your airborne and maintaining flight. And the third effect is basically that it'll actually, a lot of players don't notice this, but it'll actually give you an enhanced crosshair so that you can obviously improve your accuracy and land shots more often. But with Boba's blaster, it has a high headshot multiplier. So this accuracy buff basically will allow you to get more headshots if you utilize the crosshair efficiently. And that'll obviously allow you to do bigger damage. And the third ability is his missile barrage, and what that will do is basically self-explanatory. It'll cause explosive damage to enemies. The more missiles that hit them, the more damage it'll deal. And this is basically Boba's only actual damage ability. So if you want to count his jetpack as a fourth ability, you definitely could. It's just the fact that Obi-Wan and Rey's mind tricks do not affect the jetpack. You can obviously remain airborne while the mind tricks are active on you, which is a very good counter. So I feel that Boba Fett actually performs way better in hero game modes. I think he's one of the top heroes you should pick for hero game modes over trooper game modes, just because of his lack of trooper star cards and more of hero star cards. So I'll talk about more of that in a minute, but let's talk about Boba's hero star cards first and what build you should make. So first star card I recommend for hero game modes is Born to Fly. So what that'll do is that Boba's ability cooldown will be faster while he's flying, but his health regeneration will start 1.5 seconds later if you do take damage. So obviously always I recommend the purple tier star card, because this will give you the best benefit of the perk, and this is actually very good just for obviously maintaining your abilities and, you know, obviously always outputting more damage and more disorientation with your abilities. So this will allow you to get more shots in. The second ability I definitely recommend is fuel efficiency. So what that'll do is that basically Boba Fett's jetpack will burn slower while flying, so you'll have more time to remain in the air while you're flying. So this is obviously very good for maintaining your airborneness, along with For the Hunt, which is a good combo with this star card. So the next two star cards for his third slot are up to you. So if you want to be more defensive, I definitely recommend Death from Above. So what that'll basically do is that his rocket barrage will obviously be used, and you'll take less damage while using it while you're flying. So this is definitely good for obviously resisting more blaster shots, so that you can obviously get your ability pulled off quicker. But if you want to be more offensive, I definitely recommend Focalize. So what Focalize does is that it deals bonus damage for the center of your rocket barrage explosion in a 1 meter radius. So this is definitely good for damaging that high health character to get them to a point where they are in killing range, so your teammates can finish them off, or even yourself could finish them off. So why do I think that Boba Fett is better at hero game modes than trooper? So in hero game modes, Boba Fett doesn't have to rely on his jetpack as much. You should still use it, but you don't have to rely on it as much because you have stronger heroes beside you to protect you while your jetpack refuels. So this is obviously very good because, you know, you're obviously not always flying around and, you know, wasting fuel in your jetpack. You're only using your jetpack at specific instances where you know you can win the battle. So also, I think that Boba Fett's star cards are way more hero based. It's just that Boba Fett does way more damage for heroes, and just the fact that I think that Boba Fett could always do well on his own in hero game modes. I've seen lots of players, you know, take on multiple enemies at once with Boba Fett just because of the fact that he can fly. It just gives him a great advantage in hero game modes. So basically, that's pretty much it. That's why he is better in hero game modes. I think he's one of the top tier heroes for hero game modes as well, if you utilize him properly. So let's jump into trooper star cards. So the first star card I'd recommend in trooper game modes is quick refill. So what that'll do is basically his jetpack fuel will refill faster when not being used, so when you're on the ground. So this is obviously very good for, you know, constantly being in the air. You can always just land, hide, and, you know, just wait till your jetpack refuels and be airborne in the matter of seconds. So that's obviously very good. And then the second star card I recommend is called Augmented Gear. So what that'll do is that if your concussion rockets hit several enemies at once, Boba Fett's jetpack does not consume fuel for a short amount of time. So obviously this is good because in trooper game modes, you're always going to have multiple enemies in clumps and groups up together. So a concussion missile can hit 4 or 5 enemies at a time. And it's very good, you know, to get that jetpack constantly being used, because you're always going to be wanting to use your jetpack in trooper game modes. And the third and final star card I'd recommend is, once again, fuel efficiency, which will obviously burn slower while you're flying. So obviously you notice that all 3 star cards are jetpack based, and that's just because that in trooper game modes, Boba Fett should be in the air more than hero game modes. And obviously this is good and bad. Why is it bad? Well, it's bad because Boba Fett is a glass cannon to blaster fire. He's not the easiest to hit, but then again, he's not the hardest to hit while you're in trooper game modes, because in trooper game modes, you have multiple enemies shooting at you at once. So obviously, they're going to deal a lot of damage to you, and Boba does not have that much health. So you can easily get dropped if you're not careful enough while you're in the air. But also, then again, when you are in the air and you move around and utilize the movement of Boba's jetpack, when you get used to it and master it, then again, you are a harder target to hit. So it kind of, cancels itself out in a way. But that's why I definitely just recommend more evasiveness than damage in trooper game modes, because Boba Fett isn't doing that much damage in trooper game modes because you have multiple enemies to shoot at once, opposed from hero game modes where you're mainly focusing on one hero at a time to damage that one hero at a time so your teammates can finish them off. And another thing is, Boba doesn't have a lot of protection in trooper game modes. Your teammates, your Vader or your Palpatine is obviously might be on the other side of the map. You never know where they are, and they're always not going to be able to protect you. In hero game modes, usually you're always beside your teammates, so they can protect you easier. So that's why I think that Boba lacks in trooper game modes over hero game modes. But overall, I think that Boba is definitely at first a difficult hero to master. If you can get used to him quickly, that's obviously amazing, because once you do get used to using Boba, utilizing his jetpack well and dashing while you're in the air, because a lot of players don't realize that you can do that in game. You can dash sides, side to side, forward and back while you're in the air. This will obviously help you avoid more blaster fire, and it's just a great mechanic to be a master at, because you're always avoiding damage to yourself. So that's why that Boba is such a great hero, because he's always moving, he's always being productive and always helping his team. And if you can get this down, then always practice, and I think that he's such a good hero. So that's pretty much it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe if you come across this video. I definitely appreciate it. And go to my Twitch and my Twitter. Links will be in the description down below. My Twitch, I like to stream multiple games at a time, especially as Star Wars. And yeah, I think I've talked about everything, and I'll see you guys on my next Hero Mastery.